Boom shakalaka, what if you knew the exact date Bitcoin was going to top out this cycle? In this video, I'm going to be going over this hidden indicator that nobody is talking about that can accurately predict exactly when Bitcoin's going to top. If you hit this top, you could get life-changing gains. If you miss it, you might lose everything. Buckle up because this could be the most important video you will ever watch. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the exact date that Bitcoin will top out this cycle and why we haven't even come close to the peak. Plus, if you stay tuned till the end, a very likely price prediction for Bitcoin that has never failed. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for all of that stuff. Before we get into it, like the video, join us on Twitter at @TheCryptoLove, and of course, subscribe to the OG Bitcoin and Crypto YouTube channel, making videos since 2017, longer than nearly everyone else. Now, what are we looking at? This is the Pi Cycle Top Indicator. This chart is on checkonchain.com. They have a lot of really awesome charts for everything Bitcoin and crypto related, so definitely check them out. But if you've never seen this chart before, you're probably brand new to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency because this has been the most reliable chart for predicting Bitcoin tops. What this does, it has two moving averages on it, the 111-day SMA and the 350-day SMA times 2. That's this blue and this purple line right here. When they have crossed historically, this has predicted all of the tops with remarkable accuracy for Bitcoin. But we're not looking at the crosses today. We're looking at something a little bit different that only I have seen it on these charts from Check On Chain. We're looking at the Pi Cycle Oscillator down here on the bottom. You can see when it gets up very high, these are bottoms, and when it gets down very low, like this, those are tops. So right now, if we take a look at it, it's probably behind my head, but we're at a value of 0.72. At the tops, roughly around 2.5, at the bottoms, 0. So we are not close to the bottom end. Like I said, I just want to prove that we are not anywhere near a bottom. If we take a look at these previous troughs that were market tops, the lowest it ever got without going to a top was this 0.28 or 0.27 right down here, and then it came back up. That was not a top indicator. Well, guess what? We have not hit that low this cycle, telling me that we are not yet on the way to a top, which could give us a lot more time. But we're going to take a look at this and figure out exactly where we are in the cycle. That'll tell us exactly how long we have until the market top. So like I said, right now, the value is at 0.72. If we zoom back to the previous cycle, we can go all the way to right here. 0.72 was in October of 2020, and that was the moment right before things took off. The market had been going sideways for a while, for a few months, from May until October, going sideways, very reminiscent of what we've been seeing now. And then eventually things exploded, market went parabolic, and price topped out a few months later in April. That's 6 months. And so you can see the distance from October to April, 6 months right there from the level we were at. But guess what? That's not the only point we can take a look at. If we go back further to 2016, we were right here in December of 2016 at that 0.72 level. Well, guess what? The market didn't top out until all the way in December of 2017. That's 12 months, a whole year from where we are in terms of the gap between these two lines until the market top. And I didn't mention that earlier, but this Pi Cycle Oscillator just tells us the gap, the distance between these two lines. The gap is very large at market bottoms. The gap is very narrow when they cross clearly. Which brings us to the last one. So we have 6 months here, we have 12 months here. And then if we take a look, we can go all the way back to roughly August of 2012, which was the last time we were at these levels before we had a double top back in 2013. And that occurred in April and in December. So if we bring all those together, it gives us this right here, Pi Cycle Top prediction. So right now, we're in July of 2025. We don't know until at least the end of this video when the next top will be. But this simultaneously, very similar signal to what we saw in October of 2020, December of 2016, July of 2012, and the tops following those, the first one was 6 months away in April of 2021. The next one was 12 months away in December 2016. And then with those ones into July of 2012, the first top, because like I said, there were two tops that cycle following the 0.72 line. Well, the first top was 9 months away. The second one was 17 months away. So what does this actually tell us? Well, it tells us a few things. And here's the way that I look at it. We have basically a minimum, a maximum, and an average based on history. Now, this may not be perfect, but it's probably going to do a very good job. So if we take a look, the minimum 6 months from now would be January 2026. That would be the bare minimum when we would see a top for Bitcoin based on the gap between these two lines right here. In order for them to be shorter than that, price would need to go up near vertical before we saw some type of top. So that's the minimum, January 2026. The maximum, again, if we take a look, we had 17 months from July of 2012 to December 2013. Well, the maximum until the top would be December of 2026. So we may not even see a top until the end of next year, which gives us a year and a half more of gains before we see that top. Could be possible. We saw this back here in 2012 and 2013, in which there was a double top. So that's another potential scenario. But I think more likely what we are to see would be the average of all of those. So if we take those 6, 12, 17, and 9, add them all up, divide by 4, the average is actually 11 months, which would put the market top, the Bitcoin Pi cycle top for this cycle, to be June of 2026, which would give us almost a whole year, 11 months more of gains before we see a top. And here's the coolest thing, is that if we take a look, another chart on Check On Chain is this Bitcoin Investor tool. This has two moving averages. The red line is the 2-year SMA, and the green line is the 2-year SMA times 5. Now, if we take a look historically, this has very well picked out tops and bottoms for Bitcoin. When it's below the red line, amazing time to buy it. When it's above or very near the green line, amazing time to sell it. Well, guess what? Right now, before we've even seen parabolic gains, because when we take a look at parabolic gains in Bitcoin price, well, this goes up parabolically as well. We've just seen a very slow, gentle gain, similar to what we see early in cycles when things are going sideways. So, as of right now, this investor top is at $338,000. Do you believe that? $350,000 per Bitcoin is the likely top now before price even starts going up. And the longer it takes, the higher this is likely to go. So that is all for this video today. I think we are very likely to see a top somewhere around June of next year. At least $338,000, probably much higher. So that's all for this episode. If you enjoyed it, like the video, join us on Twitter, The Crypto Love. Check out some of the shorts, and I will catch you later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
Boom. Shakalaka.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.